Hi, and welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at DrupalForge. DrupalForge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. Okay, that's it. Make sure to click subscribe, and here we go.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into what's new and happening in the world of Drupal.
That's right.
Our guide for this is issue 691 of the Weekly Drop, the go-to newsletter for the Drupal crowd. This one came out July 17th, 2025.
A really packed issue, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
So our mission, for you listening, is to pull out the key bits of info, the really important takeaways from this snapshot. Basically, help you get up to speed fast on Drupal.
Exactly. And it's not just about, what's new. We want to get into why it matters.
Right.
Whether you're developing, running a site, or just, keeping an eye on Drupal's future, it's about getting that deeper understanding quickly.
Okay, sounds good. Let's maybe kick things off with the big picture stuff, the core development.
Good place to start.
There was this headline in the core news section. Disruptive deprecations should now be scheduled for removal in Drupal 13.0.0. That sounds significant. What's the real implication there for people working with Drupal?
Yeah, disruptive always catches the eye, right? Fundamentally, this shows Drupal's really serious about moving forward and, cleaning house a bit for version 13.
Cleaning house how?
By flagging older code, APIs, functions that are going to be removed in D13, it means developers and site owners. You really need to start looking now at your custom code, your themes.
So it's a long-term heads up.
Exactly, a necessary one. It forces planning. You don't want to wait until D13 is almost out and then find out half your site relies on something that's, gone. It's about pushing for better, more modern code across the board. Less tech debt down the line.
Makes sense. Need that forward planning. Okay, and speaking of keeping up, there's also news about the latest release, Drupal 11.2.0. Here's why you should take the next step.
Right, the regular update cycle.
Yeah, and sometimes these minor versions can feel a bit like, oh, another update. Why is staying on top of these, like 11.2.0, still so crucial?
That's a fair question. Update fatigue is real. But these minor releases like 11.2.0, they aren't just noise. They pack in essential security fixes first off, stuff that's just been found.
Okay, security first.
Always. But also performance tweaks, maybe small bug fixes that were really annoying someone, or even, slight improvements to features or APIs. Skipping them means, potentially leaving yourself vulnerable or missing out on these little boosts that add up.
Right, those incremental gains. Okay, so stay current. Let's shift then maybe to the user-facing stuff. Things that make life easier day to day.
Yeah, the content editor experience.
Exactly. I saw Seek Editor 5 gets a UI for setting list types. That's handy.
Little things like that make a difference, yeah. Saves clicks, makes it more obvious.
And what about new modules mentioned? Email configuration helper and layout tables. How do they help?
Well, they seem aimed squarely at empowering editors, maybe site builders too. Email configuration helper sounds like it tackles setting up email stuff, SMTP, templates maybe through the interface, less need to call a developer for common email tasks.
Okay, simplifying things.
And layout tables. My guess is it's about letting editors build simple tables for content layout without needing HTML knowledge. More visual control, making content creation smoother.
Yeah. Sounds like good usability improvements. Now, something for the developers. The newsletter talks about a new content.export command for recipe development. Can you unpack recipes a bit and why this command helps?
Sure. So recipes in Drupal, think of them like starter kits, predefined bundles of configuration, maybe even some sample content to quickly set up a specific kind of site, like a blog recipe or an event site recipe.
Gotcha, like blueprints.
Exactly. And this content.export command, it makes creating and sharing those blueprints much, much easier. Before, packaging up the right config and content could be fiddly. Now you can export it cleanly. Huge for consistency, especially if you build lots of similar sites.
Right. Repeatability sounds very efficient. Okay, moving to slightly more advanced tooling. BPMN.io for ECA. Visualize models in detail. What's BPMN.io and how does it help with Drupal's ECA module?
Okay, so ECA is Drupal's event condition action engine, lets you build complex automation rules like if this happens, check that condition, then do this action.
Right, workflow automation.
Exactly. And BPMN.io is a standard, a visual language for mapping out business processes. Think flowcharts, but standardized. Integrating BPMN.io with ECA means you can see your complex rules visually.
So instead of just code or config screens.
You get a diagram, you can actually see the logic flow. It makes incredibly complex setups understandable, easier to debug, and easier for business analysts and developers to talk about the same thing. Huge for clarity.
I could see how that would be powerful.
Okay.
And the unavoidable topic, AI. What's new and exciting in AI for Drupal? Latest innovations and trends. What's the general vibe here? Is AI really making inroads?
It definitely is. It's still early days in many ways, but the trend is clear. We're seeing modules and integrations pop up for things like AI-powered content suggestions, maybe automated image tagging for accessibility and SEO.
Smarter content management, basically.
Pretty much. Think AI helping with summarization, maybe personalization based on user behavior. It's about making Drupal sites less passive repositories and more, intelligent and proactive. Lots of potential there.
Interesting. Definitely one to watch. Okay, let's switch gears a bit to maintenance and migration. Big question for site owners. Automatic updates. Is it right for your Drupal site?
Ah, yes, the siren song of convenience versus the fear of breaking something.
Exactly. It sounds great, but I imagine for complex sites,
Yeah.
maybe not so simple. What's the main risk people need to weigh up?
The biggest gotcha is usually conflicts. You've got a bunch of contributed modules, maybe some custom code, an automatic core update, or even a module update could clash with something else unexpectedly.
And then things break?
And then things break potentially in subtle ways you don't notice immediately. So it's not a simple yes or no. You have to think hard about your specific site. How complex is it? Do you have good automated testing? Can you roll back quickly if needed?
So it requires careful consideration, not just flipping a switch.
Absolutely. Risk versus reward tailored to your situation.
Good advice. Now, on the migration front, this looks like a huge resource. Tag One's complete Drupal 7 data migration series is out as a free ebook.
Oh, yeah. That's gold.
It mentions insights from Mauricio Dinarte and others, sharing the secret sauce for D7 to D1011 moves.
Yeah.
How valuable is something like this?
Immensely valuable, especially with Drupal 7 really being past its prime now. Migrations, particularly from something as old as D7, can be tricky. Lots of potential pitfalls with data, with edge cases.
Right.
Learning from people who've done it many times, like Mauricio and the Tag One team, that secret sauce is basically hard-won experience. It can save you so much time, money, and frankly, stress. It highlights why leaning on community expertise is key for big lifts like this.
And speaking of expertise, the newsletter also mentions OPTASY. They're a Drupal Diamond Certified and Migration Certified partner offering free audits.
Right, which ties in perfectly.
It really shows there's a need for professional help with these migrations, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For complex sites or teams without deep migration experience, bringing in certified partners makes a lot of sense. They can audit your setup, give you honest advice that's key, and help navigate the whole process. It's about confidence, really. Confidence in the upgrade.
Makes sense. Okay, let's talk learning and career stuff. Lots of resources mentioned. Tutorials like, want to run Drupal and Kubernetes? Try our new Terraform module.
Yeah, that's very current.
Supercharge your Drupal QA. Automating Cypress tests with GitHub Actions. And testing DDDV with VMware Workstation Pro. These seem pretty focused on modern dev practices.
Definitely. They're hitting key areas. Kubernetes and Terraform, that's infrastructure as code, containerization, essential for scaling. Automated testing with Cypress and GitHub Actions, that's robust CI/CD, faster, safer deployments.
And DDEV.
DDEV for local development consistency, making sure your local setup mirrors production as closely as possible using tools like VMware. These aren't just how-to guides, they're showing you how to adopt really efficient modern workflows. Big productivity boosters.
Good practical stuff. Then there are broader articles. Thoughts on professional development and why human-centered design should drive your next website redesign.
Yeah, moving beyond just the code for a minute.
What's the takeaway there?
Well, the professional development one is a reminder, right? Things change fast. You've got to keep learning, keep adapting your skills. And the human-centered design piece, That's critical. It pushes us to think about the user first.
Not just the features we can build, but what users actually need.
Exactly. Are we solving real problems? Is the site intuitive, enjoyable? That focus leads to much more successful projects in the long run. It's about empathy and design.
Very important. The newsletter also shouts out some podcasts. Talking Drupal, hashtag 511 UI Suite 2.0, TD Cafe, hashtag 006, Carlos Ospina and Ana Laura Cotto, and one on web accessibility with Mike Gifford, Beyond Blocks.
Yeah, podcasts are a great way to absorb info. Talking Drupal is a staple, obviously. And that accessibility one with Mike Gifford, super important.
Accessibility keeps coming up.
As it should. Making sure websites work for everyone, including people with disabilities, is just fundamental. It's good practice, often legally required, and just the right thing to do. These audio resources offer great perspectives, often straight from the people doing the work.
Good ways to stay plugged in. And the community itself is buzzing. There's a call for training proposals for DrupalCon Chicago 2026.
Planning way ahead.
And an event report from Drupal Contribution Japan. It really shows how active the community is globally.
Totally. The call for proposals shows that knowledge sharing is constant, driven by the community. And seeing local events like the one in Japan thrive is fantastic. It shows the grassroots energy. Open source relies on that participation.
Definitely. And finally, for people maybe looking for roles, jobs.drupal.org is highlighted. Featured jobs include a full-stack Drupal engineer, a lead Drupal developer, and a DevOps full-stack developer.
Interesting mix there.
What does that mix tell you about the job market right now?
Well, full stack is always in demand, people who can handle front end and back end. Lead developer points to a need for experience, leadership, architecture skills.
Mentoring maybe too.
Yeah, likely. And the DevOps full stack developer, that's really telling. It shows companies aren't just building Drupal sites. They're focused on the whole life cycle, building, deploying, scaling, automating. That blend of dev and ops skills is increasingly valuable. It's about the whole pipeline.
Wow. Okay. We've covered a lot of ground just from this one issue of the Weekly Drop.
We really have.
From, Drupal 13 planning and core updates through tool enhancements like Seek Editor and recipes, migration advice, all the learning resources, community events, the job market.
Yeah.
It's quite a snapshot.
It really is. It paints a picture of a platform that's constantly moving, constantly evolving. You see the core team planning strategically, the community building tools, sharing knowledge, people migrating older sites, new folks learning modern practices. It feels very dynamic.
It does. It shows a healthy ecosystem.
Yeah, pulling in modern tech, thinking about AI while still supporting that huge existing base. It's complex, but vibrant.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought to leave folks with, based on all this activity. Drop Times had an article referencing 19 years in a 24-year-old Drupal. That's a long history.
And indeed.
So considering everything we've just talked about, this mid-2025 snapshot, what does it suggest to you about where open source CMS platforms like Drupal are heading? How might that mix of community, commercial partners, and, well, new tech like AI continue to shape things over, say, the next 5 years?
That's a big question to ponder.
Something to think about. We'll leave you with that.
Okay, we're done. To close off this podcast, I just wanted to remind you that this brief was a fully AI-generated summary, and we take no credit for the original content. If you want to learn more, then check out the source. This podcast is produced by the team at Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is the new #1 open-source development and hosting platform. It has all the functionality of the expensive platforms, but at very affordable prices. If you're looking for a new hosting provider, contact us for a demo before you get locked in. And if you like this podcast, hit subscribe, post a link on social media, and recommend it to 2 friends. That's it. See you next time. Bye for now.